Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into one of the slickest tools in a trader's toolkit, the TTM Squeeze. We are going to break down exactly how this thing can help you spot potentially massive market moves before they even get started.
You know that feeling, right? You're watching a chart and it's just going nowhere, grinding sideways. It's frustrating, and honestly, it's where a lot of trading accounts just get slowly chipped away. But what if? What if you could actually see the big moves building up before they happen? Because here's the crazy part. It's estimated that the markets spend about 80% of the time just consolidating, chewing back and forth in these choppy sideways patterns. That makes trying to pick a direction a real nightmare. So the real question is, how do we find that sweet, profitable 20% of the time when the market is actually making a move?
And that right there, that's the trader's dilemma. How do you stop yourself from getting all chopped up in that market noise and instead get yourself positioned right at the start of those powerful money-making trends? Well, this is exactly where the TTM Squeeze comes into play. It's this fantastic indicator that was cooked up by a trader named John Carter, and it was designed to do one thing really, really well. Find those quiet periods, those moments of super low volatility, right before the price is about to explode in one direction or the other.
Probably the best way to think about it is like a coiled spring. Yes, seriously. The indicator is basically hunting for those moments when the market is compressing, just tightening up and building this incredible potential energy, just waiting to be unleashed.
And hey, don't just take it from me. The guy who created it, John Carter, literally calls it the most versatile tool he's ever used. And it works on pretty much anything: stocks, options, futures, and for any style, whether you're a scalper or a swing trader. It's pretty amazing.
So how in the world does this thing actually measure that buildup of energy? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the mechanics. It's actually a pretty brilliant and surprisingly simple idea.
So the magic, the real secret sauce, is in how two classic indicators play together: Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels. You see, Bollinger Bands are based on standard deviation, so they expand and contract like crazy when the price swings. Keltner channels, on the other hand, use something called the average true range, which makes them a lot smoother and more stable.
So here's the genius part. When volatility just dries up and the market goes quiet, those twitchy Bollinger Bands actually get squeezed inside of the smoother Keltner channels. And that right there is the signal. When that happens, the indicator says, aha, a squeeze is on. The spring is officially being coiled.
Okay, so our chart is telling us we're in a squeeze. Awesome. But what do we do now? How do we actually read the indicator to figure out what happens next? Well, that's where the visual cues come in, and they're super easy to read. The indicator makes it really simple. First, you'll see these little red dots show up on the zero line. That means a squeeze is on. Energy is building. Your job? Do nothing. Be patient. Then, the moment you see the first green dot, that means the squeeze has fired. Bang! The energy is being released. That's your cue to start looking for an entry. And finally, the histogram tells you which way the wind is blowing. If it's above zero, momentum is bullish. If it's below zero, it's bearish. Simple as that.
Now let's put the whole thing together, because this is where the rubber meets the road. A really high probability signal happens when we combine the squeeze firing with what the momentum is telling us.
And the whole goal here, as John Carter puts it, is just so powerful. You want to get into that move before everyone else piles in. You want your entry to be where the crowd is just starting to think about getting in. That's the edge. So for a bullish setup, a potential buy signal, you're looking for two things to happen. First, the squeeze has to fire. That means those red dots turn green. And second, you look down at the momentum histogram, and you want to see it above that zero line, and ideally heading up. That confirms the upward momentum. And for a bearish signal, a short trade, it's the exact same logic, just flipped upside down. You wait for that squeeze to fire. Red dots turning to green, telling you the quiet period is over. But this time, you need that momentum histogram to be below the zero line, confirming that the pressure is to the downside. So, okay, let's zoom out for a second. What's the big takeaway here? Why is a tool like this so incredibly valuable for you as a trader? Look, it really comes down to this. The TTM Squeeze helps you time your entries with much better precision. But maybe even more importantly, it gives you a crystal clear signal of when to just sit on your hands and stay out of that awful, choppy market. It's all about finding those high probability setups and getting that critical edge by acting before the move becomes obvious to everyone else. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it?
Learning to read market volatility isn't about having a crystal ball. It's about identifying those moments when the odds are stacked in your favor. So the real question is, if you started looking for this coiled energy in the market, what kind of moves are you missing right now?